bit less ice on this one to try and get the full berry. Important to stay above the tee line here. And a good attempt there by Onodera. Just slipping a little bit further than they might have liked. So Norway have the chance to play a freeze and really shrink the scoring zone here for the Japanese. And Alina Skarsmo, the 24-year-old. A lot of rotation on the stone.
She's from Oppdal but lives in Oslo.
We saw some very, very quick ice conditions earlier on in the men's second final between the USA and the Czech Republic. See, the stones just seem to drift on forever when they are running down that center line like that.
Yumi Funayama, 35-year-old from Sapporo in Japan. She's married with a daughter. 3 years on this team, but has a lot of experience. Played at 2 Olympic Winter Games. And how they would love to get back.
Tror ikke vi kommer helt nedpå. Nei. 85 da. Ja, nesten det samme egentlig. Ja, samme. Egentlig kan ta litt til, ja.
That one coming up a little bit short, but prevents Norway from making a tap up on that Yellowstone. They're going to have to play another draw here. They need to take a little bit more ice on this one. And this one's just going to drift through the 4-foot. So the first time she was able to use the sweepers. Second time just a bit of an overthrow here. But still difficult for Japan to score 2 here. Another come around here for Yumi Funayama. Wants to just sit one on the side of that Yellowstone at the top of the 4-foot. But again, the players just being a little caught out by the speed down the center line there. And maybe, just maybe, there's a chance to double both of those stones out for the Norwegians.
A reminder of the rules of play, if you need it. These guys will play a minimum of 8 ends, 73 minutes for each team for the game. They both have their own clocks, and there's one coach interaction with the clock continuing during that.
I don't think we'll see Marianne Rurvik messing about too much with this one. She wants to just clip that red stone on the button and try and spring the other red out of the side of the 4-foot.
Marianne Rørvik, 30 years old. Long time curling though, the skip for Norway.
A little bit surprised about how little weight she's throwing here. I just thought she'd just launch one up the centre line. But gets the job done, actually pushes it far enough to line shot position. I think in the men's competition you would have seen those two stones getting absolutely whacked out of there.
Howled.
No. Howled is when a stone howls, it curls a lot. It doesn't travel down the ice fast.
Certainly look very relaxed, the Norwegian girls.
Well, they'll definitely be a lot more relaxed now than they were just a couple of stones ago.
Ayumi Ogasawara, 35-year-old, also from, or living in Sapporo, from Hokkaido. Lots of experience, 2 Winter Olympics in 2002 and 2006.
Yeah, of course, Camilla played with the great Dordi Nordby.
Yep, she's got Olympic experience with Norway. Camilla Holt in the Norwegian team.
Ren frys, men kommer vi opp til nesa, så koster vi på å tappe den bitte litt bakover. Så vi kan sitte to. 14 har jeg. Som på trening.
As did Marianne Rørvik, Olympic Winter Games in 2002, 2006.
Well, a super draw there from Ogasawara. And again, Rørvik doesn't need to do anything too fancy here. She could just peel that red out of there. Well, needs to curl to the face of this red stone. Can't afford to bounce off and leave a shot for 2. And that probably will be good enough.
Still a little gap.
So just a quiet wait here for Ogasawara. Wants to come down onto the nose of that yellow stone, or even hit it on the left-hand side as she looks at it. I don't think she can squeeze the yellow past to score 2. She would have to get extremely close to the guard to do that and catch on the white stone.
So last stone of this first end. It is indeed 1 for Japan. Not entirely satisfied, but 1 nonetheless. And after the first end, as you can see, Japan 1, Norway 0. second end. This winner takes all game between Japan and Norway. Japan losing out this morning to China. Another chance to try and get to Sochi if they can see off the Norwegians here.
Oh, here the Norwegians calling the takeout. Don't want to leave that stone in the forefoot. This one curling a lot. Will it make contact? It will, but it won't do enough to push it out of the rings.
They're all giving it a helping hand. Julie Shermona's second stone, hoping to make amends.
Yeah, it didn't make a great effort on the in-turn handle, so trying the out-turn this time. And
that wasn't great either.
That is not some Olympic shot making right there. Jeez.
You need your lead to be doing better than that.
You really don't expect to see that at this level, Alison. It's very, very poor. You certainly can't blame the ice conditions. They've been nothing less than perfect all week long. I was speaking to the US national coach Derek Brown just now, and he was just saying how good the ice conditions have been all week long. The ice conditions last for the whole game, as well as quite often they'll change a lot during the game. They'll maybe start off slow, get faster, and then slower again at the end in a 10-end game, but it's just perfect from start to finish. So,
well, that's quite an achievement because there's so many variables in the arena.
Absolutely, and it really allows the curlers out on the ice to demonstrate their ability. Sometimes that is a little bit inhibited by ice conditions.
We have seen some fantastic shots all week.
Well, it's as I said before, there's two interesting contrasts between these two teams. It's shot making against strategy, shot making for Japan and strategy for the Norwegians. But then it's also takeouts against draws. I would say the Norwegian team are a far better draw team than the Japanese are, whereas the Japanese are much better at takeouts. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this one pans out.
But Norway can't afford misses like that, even at this stage in the game. Need to still you can make all the shots, all the difficult ones, but if you don't do the basics right in any sport, that's when you're caught out.
Well, that's another horrendous miss. This is 3 missed takeouts, open takeouts in this second end. So maybe a little bit of nerves out there. Just looking at the results from the round robin. When these two teams went head to head in the round robin, game 3, Japan came out on top by 9 shots to 5.
Yeah, I remember commentating on that game. They actually pushed them all away, Norway. It's a good game.
Of course, Japan got off to a 5-win start, and now They're on the back of 2 straight losses. That being said, they were playing against easily the strongest team in the women's competition, China. But momentum very much on the Norwegian side at the moment. They've won 3 games straight to get to this position.
But then they had that gap in terms of when they played, which we discussed earlier. I'm not sure whether that's advantage or a disadvantage. These guys have already had a 3-hour game today.
Ja, vi kan dra her da.
Ja, det litt avhengig av hvor mange du går.
Så det lettere å dra her, ja.
Ja,
Mer å dra på her, så de blir så tett på dobbelen.
So Marianne Rørvik choosing to ignore the red stone here and try and split the rings here. Can't really go any further than the edge of the 8-foot circle here if they want to lie to. But at the same time, they want to get their yellow stones as far apart as possible, get distance so that it makes any sort of double takeout difficult for the Japanese.
Gjerne køle, nå ligger vi veldig tett. Neida, fin linje. Til her. Kom igjen, til her. Kom igjen, køle, masse kjemperetning. Kom igjen.
Litt til her.
Ja, litt til. Bra. Blir ikke dobbelt så lett. Bra spilt. Bra kosta. Kjempebra.
We've had 7 women's teams competing for these 2 places in the Olympic Games. We're down to these 2 now. China already claiming their spot. But which one of these 2, Japan or Norway, will get that final women's place? Successfully removes the yellow.
Jeg tror kanskje det er litt mer driv inn. Hæ? Jeg tror kanskje, jeg vet ikke.
Gjerne køle litt, altså. Bare, ja, ok, det er greit. 10 line, bare 10. Bare 10 line.
Ja, hun kan vente.
Ja, mer driv enn forrige, ser jeg.
Ja, det er det.
Ja, så langt, nå helt til 10, altså. For det får en veldig fin dobbeltvinkel her. Kom igjen, kom igjen. Jobb. Bra.
Bra.
Ikke mye mindre den klart.
Bra, Julie. Var litt ut, eller? Det var litt annerledes. Oi, ok.
Well, Norway lying 2 here and reasonably flat, no double takeout available. So I think ideally Ayumi Ogasawara wants to hit this yellow stone in the 4-foot and just roll over towards the other yellow. Try and make that distance a little bit smaller. Set up a double with her last stone. So it's not been a terrific display of shot making here in this second end. All open shots really, and a lot of misses. Another hit and roll out there from Ogasawara. And now Marianne Rørvik can split the rings. Just needs to find the 8-foot once again and put one over there beside that red stone. And Norway would look really good for putting the first deuce of the game on the board. Well, they're looking really relaxed out there. You see, even when the stone's traveling down the ace, Marianne Rorvik's got a smile on her face. So it's I think it's a great attitude to have in such a massive game of curling. And this game is certainly the biggest game of Annalena Skarsmoen and Julia Scherer-Molinar's life.
They had a very disappointing European Championships in Stavanger in their own country a couple of weeks ago. Very different cultures, certainly. The Japanese quite serious until the shots have been made.
Absolutely, but I'm sure you'll still see some smiles from Ogasawara throughout the game.
Especially when shots have worked out for her.
I've got to say as well, Alison, that when you're playing against a team who are really relaxed, then it can be a little bit unnerving. Something that there was one game that my team played last year, and we were really relaxed. We just went out there, we had a laugh, and we just made so many shots, and it was one of our best wins of the whole season. So it can be difficult to play against that. We were playing against a serious team, and they just didn't execute because we were just having a complete carry-on out in the ice. So I'm not saying that the Norwegians are going to have a carry-on, but still the same principle that quite often if you can find quite a relaxed place where you're just enjoying the game, then you could well execute the most shots in that way. So here we have the final stone of the second end, and it's been a well played second half of the end, certainly from the Norwegians.
Yeah, they started this one very poorly, but they have recovered. And recovered to claim 2 shots. I'm pleased with that, especially after the poor start. So we've played 2 ends, and it's now Japan 1, Norway 2.
Begge to der, ja. Og begge tenker. Ja, det var den ene hvor du sklei ut. Ja, den kølte mye, men det er fordi sånn. Men den første satt jeg helt rett og kølte i, og Julius kølte og Hennes kølte, så jeg vet at det kølte. Ja. Det er en grunn på den jeg satte. Bra.
So into the third end. This playoff game between Japan and Norway, bidding for a place at the Olympic Winter Games in Sochi in Russia. And the women's teams are already there: Sweden, Switzerland, Great Britain, USA, Denmark, Korea, Russia as host, and of course China and Canada.
Bra, Julie.
Bra. Og så er jeg god, eller sånn flink til å helle med fargen.
First and last. Well, 2-1 here. And Tom Abedji is going to play a takeout with a bit of luck. Wasn't either team's most favoured shot in the second end, but much more convincing this time.
The men's lineup is of course complete for Sochi. Germany and the USA winning through here.
Helt back. Helt vekk. Sving litt til.
Bra, Julie.
Yeah, great disappointment for
Bra.
Yiji Sneetil and his Czech boys, losing both of their opportunities to qualify for the Olympics.
And especially after doing so well in the round robin. But that is the format.
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of sympathy out there for Yiji. I mentioned before, him and his team, one of the most liked teams on the Curling Champions Tour, the World Curling Tour Europe. So I know a lot of people would like to see him there, but something myself and Uli Kapp earlier were discussing was we think it is a good thing for USA to be at the Olympics. It probably brings a lot more profile to the sport and might well bring a bit more sponsorship and marketing and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, you want to have the best teams at the big show, regardless of what country they're from.
And if they win through the system that there is, then they're there on merit.
Well, that's 2 peels in that spot for Camilla Holt, and 2 misses. Here we see it, just gives it a little steer on release, throws it back, hit it on the nose the first time, fresh air shot this time. And I think we've seen more missed open takeouts in this game already than we've seen in the whole week. Might need to put a counter on the screen.
You're marking them down, aren't you?
Oh, I'm running out of paper already.
But that's a nice shot.
Well, that was a super drop. Maybe even over very slightly, but you certainly wouldn't want to play around the outside of that corner guard. And Camilla Holt, after that missed peel, has put her team in a little bit of trouble here.
Ok, plass. Plass! Plass! Nei, må ikke ta den. Sitt da. Uff. Ok.
So is that lying shot position? It could well be.
Fin retning da.
Oh, who's lying second shot as well? Looks like that one at the back of the 8-foot's lying shot. Maybe, just maybe, that yellow at the top of the screen could be out counting the red. Certainly very close. If those 2 stones were to remain in a scoring position, we may well need a measure at some point on them. Might need to wake the umpire up for that one.
However, I think we will manage to get some stones in a little bit closer than those ones, so measure probably not needed.
Ja. Den morsom.
Den heller ikke dum da, men da var det den da. Den ikke noe lurt. Ja, vant.
Well, would have just liked to cover an inside edge of that red. Just gives Norway the slightest chance to get to the nose or even past nose to make a takeout to lie 2 here.
Vant pluss!
Nei! 15!
Vant pluss!
15! Helt vekk.
15, ja. Henger på linja. Nå over linja.
Ja, 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 ja! Ja!
Well, another wayward takeout here, and
Det ganske tricky å spille der.
what's the situation now? Japan lying 1 for sure. Probably 1 and 4, I would say. Choosing to come around this corner guard again.
Reminder of the stone colours. Reds are Japan, yellows Norway.
Well, they're trying to play a come around to try and stop Norway playing a freeze on that red stone. You might see a lot of teams trying to make a takeout on the other side of the house and trying to bring more of these reds lying around the outside into play. But this is a super draw here. Really good play there by Funayama.
Altså 3/4 kanskje?
Du spiller samme fart.
Ja.
Ja. Nå er vi inn her.
3-7 da. 3-25.
Dere bøtter ikke over linja, så det burde være bra.
And Aline Skarzamo's second stone.
Nei. Kom igjen. Helt vekk.
So they've got a chance here to try and make this double.
Sving litt til, da. Det er så nære. Bra spilt, altså.
Bra spilt.
Det er kjempenære.
Well, again, another half shot here, another hit and roll out.
Bra.
Men hun setter på den mer enn sin første.
And looks like it's going to be a scrappy affair this evening.
Den første er bare sånn. Sving litt til, da. Det er så nære. Bra spilt, altså.
Bra spilt.
Det er kjempenære.
Veldig nære.
Here's he rolls right out of the rings, giving a little bit of extra persuasion from Agasawara. So they've got a good line here once again. Can they tuck the inside edge this time? Well played once again, but it's really difficult to get that stone in a good spot that doesn't leave a double takeout. I think I'd much rather both of these times than making a play on the yellows on the other side and trying to bring that stone in behind the corner guard into play.
Det er samme fart som han Line, da.
Ja.
Den gikk liksom helt sånn vanlig utover der. Det var liksom ikke sånn at det bøtter.
I think when you're making shots as well as that, and it's exactly the shots that's been called, but you see them sitting there and you realize, you know what, that's not actually a great result. We played an almost perfect shot there then.
So wrong decision then.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. You need to have a little bit more margin on your shots to get a good result, and when you've got the last stone as well, you want to try and separate your stones out. You want to create distance and not leave double takeouts. Needs to get by the guard here. And I wouldn't like to translate that, but I can tell you this much, just clip the guard there, and Norway need to be a little careful here.
Dette blir en stygg omgang.
Well, that seemed to curl more than they thought it would.
Kjepper nå om vi skal dra frysen på hennes toer for å gi bort toer.
So maybe, just maybe, Japan going to play this takeout that I talked about before.
Perhaps they wouldn't have done that had that mistake not happened.
There didn't seem to be any initial panic on Mariana Rurvik's shot there. Just makes me wonder if they might have grabbed a piece of debris or something and thrown it offline.
We might try and catch that again at some point and check.
So looking for a nose hit here to spill both of these yellows. Oh, and sticks it. So that Yellowstone still lying in third shot position, and Mariana Rorvik can try and play the same double to lie two. Just needs to be a little bit careful. First things first, they absolutely must keep their shooter in the 8-foot circle here. If they hit and rolled out, then it would be an open hit for 4 probably.
Ja, jeg planer om det. Ja. Bare
So it's actually not the easiest of doubles. You need to get really tight to that red stone furthest left in the house to make this nose hit double. You could play it across the top as well, but you're risking rolling out by doing that. Must be pretty close here. Trying to make it across the top. Oh, what a shot here from Marianne Rørvik. And Norway have gone off with one here. A real get out of jail free. And that is a very, very tough double that the Japanese are lining up. Super shot. Makes it across the double. Was a slightly riskier way to play it, but perfect result.
And look where the yellow one ends up. Norway counting 2. Last stone of this third end. Okasawa. It's a difficult shot.
She needs to hit this really thin, Alison. Must be close. Oh, and they've completely miscalled the line on that one. Not even close, really. I always think in these shots, when you're playing the slash doubles, you can always afford to hit them a little bit thinner than you think because of the amount of spin you put on the stone when you hit it.
I think it was a steal of 1 there, Logan.
Oh, big let off for Norway there in the third end.
Yep. After 3, Japan 1, Norway 3. Into the fourth end then of this final game in the Olympic qualification event 2013. And Norway in good form. Mentally, certainly after that lift of the steal in the third end. They have the lead. They have a 3-1 lead. We've played a few get out of jail cards that have worked. To Onobechi. Her percentages.
Well, they may be on good mental form, Alison, but the standard of shot making has been pretty woeful so far in this game. Not Olympic standard in the slightest, so it's still a tight game, and Norway really been gifted a 3-1 lead here.
Although Marianne Rørvik played a couple of pretty decent shots to claim that steal.
Da tar vi den ikke.
Den på frys.
So needing to keep the stones in front of the tee line here, and that's a much better shot there from Char Molinar. Tournament accuracy 79%. Well, this end now about the Japanese trying to bring the corner guard into play by going back to the tee line. Really forced Norway to come into the rings again, and they couldn't have a centre guard. That's a very nice shot there by Tomabeci. Definitely the best player so far in this game.
Den ligger jo bak 10 da, den ligger jo ikke så
Kan
fint.
legge en frys der, kanskje?
Nei, så kan vi jo ta den sånn da. Vant?
Ja.
Det er sånn mellom de.
Å ja, ok. Jeg trodde de lå på frys, ja.
Ja. Sorry.
Det ser jo sånn ut der. Det ser sånn ut herfra, da. Ok,
Ja, jeg skjønner.
Da spiller jeg 30-40. Ja.
Camilla Holt, she's only 68% for the whole tournament. And starts about this game a little later.
Well, I think a lot of teams would peel the corner guard here, Alison, but Camilla has not been the strongest on the peel so far in this game. Removes her own yellow stone from play, but does lie directly in front of it.
Kjørte mye der. Kan du få litt mer? Ok.
80% Kao Monadera is second. She played well. Played well in this morning's game against China. Had good percentages, but key shots were missed in that game.
Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and they're trying to hit that on the other side to roll behind the corner. Over curls, and good skipping there by Ogasawara to up the sweeping and let that one curl across. Keeps the stone in the forefoot.
Samme fart, da.
Ja, kjempefin fart. Vant pluss. Vent litt. Pluss. Vent.
Well, Camilla Holt trying to play a hit on this wide stone and roll over in front of the one in the forefoot. Must be pretty close. Oh, just slightly misjudged the sweep in and bounces off, but the good news for Norway is that they're moving the stones in the house much closer together, and they might get a chance at a double takeout at some point. Japan trailing by 2, they are the ones who need to take the risks at the moment.
Huge interest in this game in Japan. Getting live coverage.
Well, taps that yellow stone right through the house. But as I said before, these red stones really close together, and this could be the best opportunity for Skarsmoen to get both the reds out of the house. Maybe just calling the hit and roll in front. The worry would be here that they hit and roll out and leave draws around the corner guard. Annalena Skarsmoen playing 73% for tournament. Oh, and she's absolutely nailed that one. Look at that hit and roll right onto the button. Let's see, passes the guard comfortably, but hits it kind of 2/3 stone hack weight, rolls over in front, and that yellow stone is going absolutely nowhere. Yumi Funuyama playing 74%. Trying to come down at just the kind of backline weight and bump these stones around. Smart call here by the Japanese skip. Well, I think they would have wanted to sweep that a little bit more and try and move that red further back at the back of the forefoot. So nothing too fancy required here from the Norwegians. Just going to choose to hit this wide red. Don't need to worry too much about sticking around, I would say. Another option could be to throw a guard. This late in the end, it's definitely an option. That Yellowstone is probably going to take a couple of shots to move that off the button. Well, makes the hit and stick. Well, looks like they're just calling a sort of similar shot here. Just trying to bump things around and free up that Yellowstone on the button. Well, Norway would like to get that red stone through the house. Do manage to do so. That red stone doesn't manage to lie directly in front of the Yellowstone, and that really was the key to that shot. And it should be a straightforward takeout here for Marianne Rørvik.
Jeg har ikke spilt noen steiner den veien, så jeg er litt usikker, men det står så veldig oppover på denne siden.
Ja, det var det jeg tenkte også.
Så det får så helt i kjapp, går bra.
Ja.
Filmer bakfra, så morsomt.
Husk på skulderen og slipp på den.
Ja. Så midt på centerline, da er vi OK. Ja. Helt til der, men ikke noe over det.
Marianne Rørvik engaged to Torgen Nergard, who's in the Norway men's team going to the Winter Olympic Games, so it'd be nice for them if a not husband, but partners could be going to the games. I'm such a romantic.
Well, Alison, there won't be too many couples at the Olympics, I wouldn't have imagined. There was a lot of couples playing in the Roar of the Rings in the Canadian trials just last week.
In Canada.
The Canadian Olympic trials in Canada, that's absolutely correct. So these two Yellowstones pretty close together here and back of the tee line, so Japan are going to try and freeze. And even if they could just tap the yellow back 6 inches, the one that's closest to the button, that would create a nice pocket to catch this red stone in if Norway were to then go and try and play a takeout.
She's 73%. I think the last game against China, she did tail off, missed some key shots.
Well, I can't understand that, Alison. You've got two stones behind the tee line. And if you're you need to know what the professional side is to miss shots on, and at the moment that is completely not happening in this game. If you're playing an open freeze like that, which is the hardest shot in curling, by the way, if you're going to play an open freeze, then you need to make sure you get to the stone and you lie in shot position. Anything short of it is just nothing short of criminal.
And that is well short.
So now this is a golden opportunity for Marianne Rorvik to draw one into the rings. She's having a great time out there.
I do wonder if that game this morning is impacted now on the Japanese girls. Let's see how it all progresses. But Norway certainly, whether it's the lucky breaks or the right decisions or more going their way.
Heller for kort. Heller kort. Nei. Bite åtte bare. Kom igjen! Kom igjen! Kjempelinje! Fart! Litt til, så går det inn. Fart! Bra.
Well, doesn't manage to get down there to lie 3, but a good line on that stone and prevents any double takeout to score 2, certainly. Would have just liked to get one into maybe the top of the forefoot just to put a little bit more pressure on the Japanese.
Det er så kjipt å dra liksom ned på 10 og sånn. Ja.
Well, I think it's great to see the Norwegians having so much fun out in the ice.
Don't think Yumi feels that at the moment.
I don't think I'd be able to be as relaxed as that out on the ice either when a place at the Olympic Games is on the line.
Last stone of this fourth end. Can Japan rescue anything really out of this situation? Just play this.
Well, that's a good draw there by the Japanese. The Norwegians had just come up a little bit further. That would have made that shot just a little bit more difficult, but Ayumi full of smiles and pleased to get one on the board and close the gap on Norway here.
Still all to play for then. Nothing between the two teams. We've seen a bit of everything in terms of mistakes and poor shots and some good ones too. After 4, Japan 2, Norway 3. There are the numbers so far. No big ends as such yet. All adds up to a 3-2 lead for Norway. This Olympic qualification event. Winner gets the ticket to Sochi in the Winter Olympic Games. Fifth end.
So I think we'll see Japan push quite hard here in the fifth end to try and force Norway to score one worst case scenario, but maybe they can even get a steal here before the halftime break to even things up. I think Norway will be quite content to play a reasonably defensive end. Well, after me saying they're going to be attacking here, they call a takeout. I'll just save my comments for after the shots that are played. I don't think there's any real way of predicting what's about to happen in this game.
Well, you have expressed concern about their decision making.
Well, chips the centre guard, and where's it going to roll to? Rolls right to the dead zone. Well, it's got to be said, I think just a couple of shots here and there. If Japan had called them slightly differently, the scoreline could be very, very different in this game.
12 fot?
Ja, 12
Gjerne
fot.
liksom over den.
90 da.
Vi drar den samme veien, vi, så gjør vi litt, skal vi se. Sånn, kanskje?
90 var det. Sånn er det.
90.
We should make sure Mona's second stone.
80. Hadde du 87?
Åh,
Det er samme.
ok, ja, den må køle litt.
Nei, 8 fot i hvert fall.
Ja,
mest av. Nå bremser den.
Ja, ja, men den må køle først og fremst, egentlig.
Ok. 8 fot.
Ok, dra ned her da. Ja, ja,
Der
ja.
får den ikke trøffe.
Jo da, kom igjen. Jo da. Ja, 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 ja. Ok.
Bra det.
Bra.
Another draw into the house from Norway. Said we're going to see a reasonably defensive end from them. So quite rightly putting their stones in the house. So Kaho Onodera calling the takeout here, trying to remove both of these yellows. And she does take out both of the yellows. And the red stone just spins out the side of the house. Great shot there by Onodera.
Yep, she enjoyed that.
So the way things are at the moment, it should be a reasonably risk-free end for the Norwegians. No centre guards really to speak of. That stone reasonably close to the centre line, but still the whole left-hand side of the sheet is open. So maybe an early opportunity here for them to make a good draw and maybe set up a deuce. I would love to score 2 before half-time and open up a 3-shot gap.
I don't think many would have predicted that.
Well, perfect draw by Camilla Holt, and for me this game could well hinge on Camilla. If Mariana can keep her drawing, then that could well be the key. Not such a strong takeout player. Played lead for many years, so she's always going to have that draw weight ability. Oh, great run back here from Onodera.
Couple of great stones from her. To keep Japan ticking over.
Det kan du bestemme, Henke.
Vant?
Ja.
Jeg tror du er ganske rett her, så jeg prøver der, ja.
Ja.
Well, Norway were flirting with the idea of just playing the same draw again, but I think they made the right decision here in playing the takeout. They don't need to take that kind of risk here at this point. That being said, I did just say that we want Camilla Holt to draw rather than hit.
Nei, bare vant. Vanlig vant.
So I hit
Oh
and
no, you
stick.
said that was our strength.
Vær med. Den er på steinen, altså. Vær med.
Well, you always want to play your players to their strengths, so a good takeout nonetheless from Camilla Holt makes a hit and stick.
Som ikke noe verdt å rulle ut her, så drar hun først.
So Japan edging closer to getting one in behind the guard,
8 fot.
but they're going to ignore that red stone in the house this time and try and hook one around.
Kom igjen, litt frem på linja. Må gå på linje. Hold på fart. Ja! Hardt!
Well, Sweepers are really going to have to go hard on this one to get it down there. Needs to find the 8 foot to lie shot position.
Litt til, litt til.
Oh, that's a disaster.
That's it.
Chips the guard and leaves a center. That's exactly what you don't want to do when you've got the last stone.
Ah, nei, nei,
And
den er
again,
bare løs med at den går i.
2 shots later, it's now a fantastic chance for Japan. Oh, here's our hog-to-hog clock friend in the bottom right-hand side. We're looking for somewhere around 15 seconds for a draw in front of the tee line. So 14.3, maybe a little bit fast. So comes right down onto the tee line. Well, they could try and follow that, but Marianne Rørvik's smart to it and showing her experience here and knowing that she needs to open up the centre plate. And maybe, just maybe, Annalena Skarsmoen can drive this onto the red, in behind the red guard, and hang it about. Well, super shot there by Skarsmoen. Opens up the centre play and puts a yellow in the house. Well, a guard called here by Ogasawara. Going to try and protect what they've got.
There you see the Japanese fans up to the right, watching this team. Just one final confirmation from her vice.
Well, they could play a takeout here to lie 2, but trailing the game by 1. I think they want to make sure there's a score here in the 5th end, so throwing the guard, feel like they can put more pressure on the Norwegians that way, and they're absolutely right. So, nice shot. Well, Marianne is just looking at these guards and seeing if she could just, if she went for a peel somewhere in between these 2 reds, just where it might be able to spin through into the house if she threw a lot of weight. Looks to me like it might just lock in there. Maybe if they were just an inch further apart, it might go, but Marianne Rørvik, we've seen this week, can throw some massive takeout weights. I expect her to come out at kind of normal speed and then give it a real injection of pace on release. And off it goes. Needs to hit the one in the centre line first, I would think. Well, just locks it and leaves it on the centre line. Never too easy to guarantee how accurate you're going to be when you're pushing the stone that hard when you let it go. You also need it to get the speed on it, but you are putting it down a little bit to luck.
If there was more power, would that make a difference? Just comparing it to the men's game again.
Well, I think if you have more power, then you don't have to push it like that when you let it go. You can generate more speed from the hack and use your momentum to get the stone going down faster, and you can put a cleaner, more consistent release on the stone. If you don't have as much power coming out of the hack, then you need to push it to get that extra speed to make the shot. So yeah, it does make a big difference, Alison.
She knew we were listening there. Here's Ogasawara.
So I wonder if the Japanese are confident enough to try and make a freeze on this one in the button. Would be a little bit of a risk. Looks like they're just going to throw the guard and settle for a probable steal of one here. Good shot by the Japanese skip. And now Rorvik maybe has to play the double run back. Or she could come off this wide redstone.
Japan red, remember. Line shot stone.
Well, this looks like a 50-50 to me. You could come off the wide stone and then you only have to worry about one angle, but it does look like quite a flat double, so it's difficult to guarantee having the speed to move that redstone far enough to score two. But you do maybe give yourself a chance of scoring two that way. They could play the run back, but then you need to worry about getting two angles correct. The angle when you hit the first stone, and then the angle when that stone that you've hit hits the second stone. So it looks like they are going to go for this shot off the winger. Certainly the one with the most reward.
Det faller sikkert litt av der.
Well, final stone here of the fifth end. And how about a big shot here from Mariana Rorvik to put a superior end to a very mundane first half. Just misses the underside of that red stone.
That was the risk. Wasn't far away.
Just one more lick of sweeping and they might well have made that shot. Certainly had the speed.
Oh, it was close.
Just misses the underside.
And she knows it.
Oh, I think Mariana thought she'd made it.
Good effort, hard shot. But that does mean a steal of one for Japan. And it levels the scores up after 5 and into the break. Japan 3, Norway 3.
Olympic qualification on the line, Norway and Japan. Second end, Mariana Rorvik trailing by 1-0. Just needs to make a hit and stick. Put 2 on the board for Norway, 2-1. Then here in the fourth end, a really nice guard by Mariana Rorvik forces Ayumi Ogasawara to throw a draw to the forefoot. Makes no mistake, right down onto that yellow stone. A score of 1 for Japan in the fourth end. And the score was 3-2 at that point. And then here we have Mariana Rorvik going for the circus shot off the winger. Gives it some hot sauce. And just hits it a fraction too thin, slips underneath, and a steal of 1. Half time here, Japan 3, Norway 3.
Tida er ikke noe problem for også ta ekstra tid når du sprenger det, ikke sant? Puste litt ekstra med magen og bare slappe helt av det og ha det artig, ikke sant?
Tukla seg litt til her. Jeg var så glad at hun dro garlic en til.
Ja, det var jeg glad for da, Marianne. Jeg sa til Julie, jeg bare, mye bedre at du vinner med en før den siste.
Ja, for da kan jeg liksom prøve noe.
Ja. Det er bare å slippe ned skuddring og spille køling, sånn som dere bruker å gjøre. Helt som vanlig. Nei?
Hvis vi klarer å ta 2 nå, så er det liksom supert. Men jeg synes det er bedre, altså 1 også er greit. Så heller litt åpen nå, da kanskje.
Ja, ja. Men når vi kjønns til blank, så blanker vi, synes jeg da.
Ja, det
Jeg kan ikke én, jeg drakk ikke 2 bo for 1.
There are the scores so far, all adding up to 3-3 as the two teams regroup, have their snacks, get the energy levels going again, just have a chat about what's happened and a look ahead mainly. No problem with motivation, that's for sure, with a prize like this.
Okay, everything's going good.
What is? Go! Dette går bra! Gå!
Ja, bare tålmodig. Fortsett å stille bra.
Bra.
Kan jeg sette den så de ikke snubler inn?
The stats then after the first 5 ends, not too much to choose between, except the hits have been pretty poor, 62% and 58%. Stolen points 1 apiece, all adding up to the 3-3. Nothing to choose between the sides.
Yeah, and you know what, Alison, it's just one shot here, one shot there. If Mariana Roervik had made that in off the winger there and put 3 on the board, then the stats would all be the same, but the scoreboard would be completely different. So it's just really a little bit of a guidance for us.
Yeah, it's all about that score at the end of the ends. Making the key shots at the key moments.
Well, it's also got to be mentioned that in the third end, Ogasawara had a slash double for 3 and hit it too thick. So if either of these shots had been made, the scoreboard could be completely different from what it is now.
But it is 3-3. We're in the 6th end of this World Curling Federation Olympic qualification event 2013. And it's Japan and Norway facing up for that Olympic place. Alison Walker and Logan Gray with you, bringing you this game live from Füssen in Germany. We've had our halftime snacks, ready for a pulsating remainder of this game. Winner takes all.
Well, it certainly could go either way here. Much like our game earlier today, the men's second final, very, very tight all the way, and it was just one end, the 8th end, that blew things wide open, and USA collected that final spot in the men's competition. I wonder who's going to pick it up in the women's.
Julie Scher-Molnar warming up now. Tentative start to this game.
Well, there hasn't been a great deal to shout about in the first half of the game, and it looks like the 6th end is going to be a bit of a non-event. So just trading hits here in the 6th end. Gotta say this blank end maybe, well, I mean, it could play into the hands of either team. Camilla Holt playing 68%. But it could play into the hands of either team. I mean, if Norway are keeping the last stone advantage if they blank here in the 6th end, which is what you would expect to happen if all the shots were made. Whereas Japan are then forcing Norway to score in the odd ends by running this end through. So, of course, you ideally want to have the hammer on the even ends.
Qual Onadera, 84%. She has been probably their best player in this tournament.
Well, she's played some terrific run-backs in this game. Made a couple of cracking doubles along the way.
Camilla Holt, second stone.
Fint satt.
Ja.
Bra.
Well, I'm just glad this isn't the Olympic final, Alison. It's not been the greatest game for the spectators. Lots of misses, but not really too many stones lying around either in this 6th end just being run through. That one rolls out of the rings from Funayama.
63% for Yumi.
It's just the teams being a little bit cagey. They don't want to take any risks with so much on the line.
And Aline Skarsmoen, just 65%.
Yeah, 65%, not really good enough if we're talking about world-class players and world-class teams. We're expecting 80 as a minimum. Well, having to work hard on this to make contact. Has it overcurled? It has, but it still makes contact.
There's a slight element of, not panic, but, well, I suppose there was a slight element of panic there. Still smiling. I think they would certainly win the prize for the happiest team in the competition.
Well, I think Japan would give them a good run for that as well. To see a lot of smiles from the Japanese players too. Well, important for Gasawara not to drop concentration here and throw up a guard. Needs to make sure they get this to the house.
Ja. Du har hatt masse fine vannflasker.
Ja da. Ja, men Lindsay markerte litt mer enn nå litt trangt. Bare. Oi, det er et hår i den.
So again, we're going to see a takeout on the wing here. Mariana Rurvik. See, it's actually very difficult, Alison, to give it your absolute full focus for 3 whole hours of competition. So I think it's great that this Norwegian team can relax in between shots, they can have a smile and a laugh, but when it actually comes down to making the shots, they're in the zone and they're focused on getting the job done.
And the thing is, in a lot of the round-robin games earlier on, there's a lot going on elsewhere in the arena, and they can take glances at other games and be distracted slightly occasionally. There's not much to look at or concentrate on except your own game here.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's his kind of... the opposition can't really affect your performance other than to how well they place their stones. When you're playing curling, then you just have to play the stones that are in front of you. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. You just need to focus on the job in the hand and getting in the right mental state to, as I say, get the job done. Well, there's plenty of conversation during that slide out there. I guess Awara having a little giggle about it.
I know she was very upset on losing out in that game this morning, which would have made the journey to Sochi a lot simpler.
Yeah, and it really is a great skill, having lost the game, to then be able to bounce back and give it your all for that one last opportunity. Mariana Rurvik playing 70% for the game. And honestly, I don't know how much experience either of these teams will have had in doing that. The usual kind of situation is kind of around the playoff stages in an international competition, sometimes maybe losing a semi-final and then bouncing back to win a bronze medal. So it's a blank sixth then, sorry. And still a tied game here.
Yep, as was in the 5th. After 6, Japan 3, Norway 3. So previous end blanked. 3-3, 7th end. Japan against Norway. Playing for a place in the Olympic Games next year. Final game in this Olympic qualification event here in the BLZ Arena in Füssen. It's been quite a week.
Well, Mariana Rurvik offer a refreshment break. And Norwegian team just deciding what they want to do in our absence, whether they want to throw a corner guard or whether they want to play a takeout in the rings. Again, if we're thinking about playing the scoreboard, which is a strategy a lot of teams favour, and you're trying to score in even ends, I think you would be playing a takeout here, but maybe not feeling too confident with the takeout game and being able to run the end through, but that's not a good option here from Julie Schär-Molinar. That's not even the correct side of the tee line.
do remember Marian Rørvik nipping away in the round robin game, actually, and it was at another crucial moment.
Well, one thing I would say is if you are a skip and you do have some less experienced players in your team, I think you need to give them clear instructions before you go as to what you want. It could well be that she would have been happy for them to throw the corner guard, but I don't think it's really great that they were standing there thinking, okay, well, what are we going to do here?
So there she's popped back and she's thinking, what's happened while I've been away? I guess there can never really be a good moment to go, but if you've got to go, you've got to go.
Well, you want to go at the start or the end. I mean, the first few stones of the end should be reasonably automatic as to where you're going to put them and how you're going to put them there. So a lot of the teams will know exactly what they're going to do in each situation, what they're trying to achieve in the end, and how they're going to go about it. So it is automatic, exactly the first 4 stones of the end, really, in a lot of score lines.
Det altså for at jeg var på tur på å slå, og så dømmer jeg guard.
Okay. Ja, ja.
Og så ble det liksom.
Well, that could be well be what they're talking about just now. Maybe Marianne Rørvik saying, why on earth are we not hitting that red stone?
Didn't seem too upset anyway.
Well, trying to hit and roll into the rings here. Just bounces off.
And largely Japanese audience quite liked that one.
Kommer litt her, men ikke masse, sant?
Det kommer ganske bra der, ja.
Ja, kan godt få enda mer.
Neida, gå og ta den.
Rett utenfor kjapp.
Ja.
So this is much more like a shot I would expect to be called in the 7th end by the team with the hammer. Trying to play a takeout on these red stones. Well, only removes one of these red stones and doesn't manage to stick around. So Japan will be keen to try and force Norway to score 1 here. And they can just throw a guard on this red stone. Don't want it to get it too close to the red. Well, it's quite clear that Marianne is keen to blank here in the 7th end. She's going to keep trying to hit these front stones. Again, if she'd managed to communicate that to her team at the 1 minute break in between the ends, then maybe they'd only be hitting 1 stone right now instead of 2.
It's about clearing the decks again.
Well, I think I like this option from the Japanese, just to draw one over to the other side of the 4-foot circle. Yeah, looks like that is what they're going to go with. Again, they want to force Norway to score 1 here, so if they group their stones together, then they're just giving the Norwegians opportunities for double takeouts, and if they make them, then they're going to be in good shape to blank here in the 7th. Well, a really good draw there by Funayama. You would maybe have liked to just be touching the 4-foot circle just so that if Norway chose to play this come around, then they would still be lying short stone.
Jeg kjører 80, altså.
Kanskje 80?
Men det er her det har stått og stått, ikke sant? Sånn.
Ja.
Jeg tipper 80 til 10 på deg.
Jeg vil veldig gjerne vente. Ingen linje. Ingen linje.
Bak, vi er lang. Lang.
Lang som i gjennom lang, ja?
Ja, overgang.
Oi, der var det. Hysj da.
Well, and Skarsmoen's just lobbed this right through the house.
Ja, det 77.
Maybe just bites.
Det var det.
Well, it certainly looks like a blank ends out the window here
Ja, jeg trodde at
after no initial guards being thrown.
det var 80-85. 80-85. Tenk 80 liksom, 80 og litt roligere.
もうちょっとだけよね。うん。
So this time Japan are going to throw the draw and try and cut the draw off for the Norwegians. Maybe just something touching the top of the 8-foot would be good here.
Nice. Frys på den. Ja. Den ligger akkurat. Den ligger midt på T-line.
Okay.
Ja.
So that one comes down onto the T-line, and again Norway are going to try and play this freeze. Even if they could just bump this redstone back a little bit. But this is very much an effort now to try and score 2 for the Norwegians. Blank end out the window.
Fin retning, gjerne kølle litt. Må vekk litt på et eller annet tidspunkt.
6, 10, 10 bak.
Ser lang ut, men...
Ja, nei, bak. Den er 10.
Well, got a long way to curl here. It's going to need to be dead weight if they want to get to the nose.
Lenger
Den er 10.
Ja, ja.
Just rubs off alongside it. Much better attempt there by Skarsmoen. But a lot of red stones could be starting to build up around the house here.
そう思う。クロスまでね。そこで持ってくる。ちょっと。11。で。
Just be looking to hit this a little bit on the corner guard side of this stone, just played by Skarsmoen, and roll into our own red stone.
I love that view. It makes you realise how far and the skill that's involved.
Well, a reasonably controlled weight here from Ogasawara. Looking pretty good for a nose hit here. Just checks over a fraction. So, Norway
good though.
now need to think about making sure that they score here.
Yep, she's applied the pressure on the Norway team. Japan the reds,
Kanskje vi være med på rullen bort.
Norway the yellows, remember.
Rulle litt bort mot den andre. Vi kan treffe bitte litt utsida for dobbel. Ja.
Well, this running a little bit tight. Needs to get past the guard. It does. On makes the double. Good shot there by Mariana, but not a lot protecting that yellow stone at the moment, and it's going to be a takeout to line 4.
Yep, very exposed and surrounded by the 3 reds.
And you know what, Alison, there's no real need for this sort of risk in throwing the corner guard here in the 7th end. You always want the teams to be aggressive, but you need to pick the right spots, and I don't think Norway have done that here at all. I also think that when you're in a pressure environment like this, you don't want to be playing against a whole heap of red granite. The adrenaline gets pumping, you just overthrow it a little bit, it slips through the house, and all of a sudden you're chasing the game. So,
and here's the 4 reds. Great position for Japan. They're asking the question.
Well, now it's a takeout, a hit and roll against 4, or it's a cold draw to the 4-foot. So I don't think Norway can even come to the face of that red stone just played by Japan to give up 1. So they need to try and play one right onto the tee line.
And it does go through your head, what if I miss this?
Well, you would hope not. Certainly a skip of Mariana Rorvik's experience, but
does it not still go through your head? Or are you thinking, I make this?
I think you're just concentrating on getting the job done.
Last stone of the 7th end. Marianne Rorvik of Norway.
Well, down to the sweepers now. Looks pretty good. Needs to stop now. That's a terrific draw here by Mariana Rorvik. That's showing some real bottle right there.
Never doubted her. Never doubted her.
But to go back to your previous question, Alison, it could go through your head. If I miss this draw, we might not be going to the Olympics. So you would hope not, though.
After 7 then, the edge ahead. It's Japan 3, Norway 4. We are getting to the real business end of this qualifier between Japan and Norway. It's 4-3 to the Norwegians. And it's the 8th end.
Yeah, and how cool a draw was that in the last end, Alison? Any sort of slip up with that draw in the previous end, and it's almost curtains.
Well, it's certainly a long way back, and you're running out of ends as well. But she made it.
Well, good. Well, nice to see a centre guard going up here, but I'm going to be a little bit difficult and say maybe they should be going top 4 in this situation.
You're never happy, Logan. Never happy.
1 up in the 8th end, you'd expect the opposition to throw a corner guard, so you can put 1 in the 4-foot first and then throw a tight guard instead of throwing a tight guard and then going around. The other side of the coin to look at it is that by throwing a centre guard, you might stop the opposition throwing a corner guard much like this. They're much more inclined to come around the centre guard. So,
And that's what's happened.
whereas with some teams it doesn't matter. I mean, Yuji Schneetil earlier on, he was quite happy in the even ends when the opposition threw a centre guard. He would throw a corner guard anyway. So part of it is knowing your opposition and anticipating what they're going to do next.
Or limiting their options. Trying to drag that as close as they can.
So that one doesn't make it all the way down there, and Sharmolina just struggling a little bit with her weight at the moment.
Comparison of the two leads, as we can see. Tomobechi ahead on all fronts.
Well, things looking good here for the Japanese.
Ja. Må bare 10 fart da, 10 pluss.
Ja.
Fint det, sånn ned der. Noe sånt, tror du? Så litt mer?
Jeg vet ikke.
Det er gøy.
Det er sikkert fint.
Camilla Holt just going to come down and try and bump this redstone back at the T line.
Gjennom. Oi. Da må han køle masse. Nei!
Alice needs to curl a lot to make contact.
Ikke rør du.
Certainly got a little bit of running on it.
Nå tror jeg vi begynner å slå på garder og prøver å ikke miste mer enn 2.
Sorry.
Greit da. Kanskje litt mye av det, vet ikke.
And that's not what they need at this stage.
Frys med først er ikke gjerne heller. Ja, nå ligger det for bra, vet du. Sånn da.
Is that the ice?
I think it's just overthrown there, Alison. So here's Onodera.
So Japan looking to capitalize on that.
Oh, that's not the way to capitalize on it. Needed to be a tight guard there. And it's just a comedy of errors here at the moment.
Perhaps the team's just getting a wee bit tense as we get to these stages, the latter stages of this very, very important game, probably the biggest game they've both played.
Well, a bit of a gulf between the second players here. Holt throwing a little bit less weight this time. Needs to move that red at the top of the forefoot here.
Certainly not going to move by much.
No, if anything, just pushes it into a slightly better position.
Yeah, it's more protected.
Well, Norway have just lost their way a little bit in the second half of this game. Just look a little bit more solemn out in the ice.
What are the Japanese thinking at this stage?
Well, the Japanese are thinking, we've got a chance to lie 4 here, guys. Let's make a takeout and roll behind the centre, and then the Norwegians would be in a hell of a mess.
Just making sure of the angles.
Oh, great shot here by Onodera.
She has been by far their best player out there in this game.
Makes a little check inside. So, what do you do now?
Pressure on Norway.
They could maybe get some of these red stones moving if they got really tight to that yellow centre guard.
Faren at den går over der, og så sitter den igjen der. Så vi ikke får med oss mer enn én.
Ja, så kjør vanlig.
Vanlig.
Det greit å få inn en inni der, ja.
Ja, det ikke dumt å ligge med en foran der.
Nei, enig da. Vanlig.
Vanlig.
Well, you know what? They can have a lash at this red, I think, and even if they could get a couple of these reds out of there.
Oi! Nei.
Well, Annalena Skarsgård standing up here needs to make contact here. Oh, she does manage that. Not with enough force to actually
shuffled them
do
around a
anything
bit.
with it. But the good news is for Norway that the way the stones sit, at the moment anyway, they've opened up a freeze to that back red stone, so that could be a get out of jail for the Norwegians. That'll certainly be the shot that the Japanese want to guard against.
So it's all about the placement of their next red stone.
Well, it comes up short of where they would have liked that one, and now this is the chance that Norway were looking for. They can play a freeze on that red stone and live shot stone, and it would be extremely difficult for Japan to get it out. Well, if Annalena Skarsgård ever needed to make a draw, then it's right now.
Comparison of the two thirds.
Alfiniyama just slightly outplaying Skarsgård, 55%, not really that great though. Nor 68, it must be added. So, I don't know if I should point this out at this point, Alison, but that's 5 red stones played and 5 red stones in the house. I feel like Danish Taylor at the snooker saying that that's 7 reds and 7 blacks. And this has come up short.
Very disappointing from Norway's point of view.
Well, Japan are just going to keep piling the stones in there, I would think. That in-turn draw looks very, very inviting. The way the angles are, the angles of the guards are.
Some early Christmas presents here from Norway to Japan.
Yeah, and earlier from the USA to Czech Republic, and that happened in the 8th end as well. So Marianne Rorvik is going to have to pull out some sort of wizardry here to prevent a big score.
Yep, Norway in a right tangle. Look at all these reds.
Well, that's 6 reds in the house. Well, I wonder if Mariana might like this double takeout on the left-hand side of your picture at the back of the forefoot. That looks like a good option to me. Hit the furthest left red in the house and roll on to the one on the centre line.
Ja, men jeg må inn hit. Med steinen, så jeg må se til hit.
Ja, du ser dit.
Så han kan komme og skli av på den inn sånn. Den ser ganske vanskelig ut.
Ja.
Så har vi den da.
Well, at the moment,
Men det ingenting
you could go for that double on the right-hand side, but if you don't make it, then it's not going to be there the next time, you would think. So you could hit the red stone on the left-hand side and leave yourself options on both sides of the sheet. Japan can't cover them both. But still not a great position at all.
Gjør den nå. Ja. Så vi spiller vanlig, ja, så vi ruller litt høyere.
They might go for a timeout here.
For da ruller vi litt høyere. For hvis vi spiller vanlig, så ruller vi lavere, så ender vi jo baki der. 13? Tror du ikke det blir bra der? Det køler litt der, gjør det ikke det? Ja, jeg tror det. Og så kan du rulle inn i den andre der, da. Ja, for alle er balter av, vet du, alle dyre. Ja. Halvtreff cirka, halve er steinen.
Well, it's going to be that double takeout that I spoke of a minute ago that Mariana Rorvik goes after. Even a hidden roll behind the red stone at the top of the forefoot would be a decent result here.
Ja, fordi det køler litt der, ikke sant? Ja, jeg tror det køler. Ja, men mine køler jo ikke skjorta uansett.
So how much of this mess can Marianne Rorvik sort for Norway? Facing a lot of red stones.
Well, needs to hit the inside. A lot of rotation on the stone actually, so it's not going to curl that much. Hits on the wrong side, but at least there's no option for an 8 now. That would be embarrassing.
Too much rotation on the stone there.
Yeah, it was really spinning a lot, Alison. That when you put that amount of spin on the stone, then the running surface of the stone is just really going to spin along the top of the ice. It's not going to grab anything. It's not going to curl.
What a fantastic position for Japan here. Hard to contain your excitement, I would reckon.
So now Gasawara trying to make this hit and roll.
So heading in the same direction, along the same pathway. And misses completely. Adrenaline, whatever you'd like to call it. Both skips struggling out there. Level of expectation, perhaps.
Both commentators struggling up here as well, Alison. That's just an awful mess.
Yeah, I put it down a lot to the occasion.
I wonder what happens what goes through the coaching bench's mind when a shot like that happens. I mean, you just have to hit that Yellowstone anywhere. And it's not even close, really. I mean, it passes by 2 inches.
Incredible. So, a let-off of sorts for Norway, but they're still in a very tricky position. 2 stones to go, 1 each. Japan with the final stone in this end. So still in good shape as far as they're concerned in terms of where all those red stones are.
Tror du det? Men det kommer til å stå. Ja, den må jo bare egentlig smyge.
I wonder what he makes of it all, Logan. Stig Højberg.
Vi kommer til å legge den.
Well, it's not been a textbook 7th and 8th end from this Norwegian side. I think they've got a little bit of work to do there if they manage to get out of this and secure a place at the Olympics.
Vi må ha bitte litt mindre, altså. Ja. Tror det står
Stig Højberg, previously a bronze medal winner at the European Championships. That's Fujimiki,
Like glatt uti der. Jeg vet
the
ikke om det plutselig bare
Canadian
blir stående og surre uti der, ja.
who coaches the Japanese team.
He's always writing things down anyway.
Liksom hvis den køller og fryser.
Yeah, and he's
på
got the
alternativer.
Johnny Moe toothpick in there today.
Johnny Moe.
John Morris sporting one of them during the Roar of the Rings last week.
Det ligger en litt for ja. Det er greit.
He's a half decent player, isn't he?
Bestefall halvhjem.
Well, I bet he would have made contact with that Yellowstone in that takeout, that's for sure.
More than contact. Right, let's see what she can manage this time. Marianne Rorvik.
All Mariana can do is really draw the edge of the 4-foot circle here. Try and put it in a position that's difficult to remove. And this has got a long way to go here. 15-1 on a fresh path. That's not going to make the 4-foot. And this is going to be an open takeout for 6. Wow.
And she knows.
This could be the end, Alison. Right here and now. You may well see handshakes if this is a hit and stick.
And they will have played their minimum of 8 ends. What a great position for Japan.
Oh, it's just been a horrendous end of curling here from the Norwegians. Got to say that the Japanese have generally placed their stones pretty well, despite that open miss from Ogasawara.
Last stone of the 8th end. Could this be the last stone of this game and the stone that takes Japan to the Olympics?
Seems pretty good, and Ogasawara celebrates before the stone even hits, and that's a score of 6.
It's an absolute belter of a scoreline. And is it the end?
Well, the 8th end's been good to the teams with the hammer today. A score of 5 for Schuster and his American side earlier, and now a 6 for Ogasawara and the Japanese.
Is there any way back for Norway? It is 9-4 to Japan. What a turnaround. After 8 ends. A couple of ends to go. It is still possible. But what a psychological blow if you're Norway. Bit of a motivational team talk between them all. But you can hear the Japanese fans cheering and shouting in the background. They're enjoying this, and they really enjoyed that last end. So for Japan, Logan, it's about maintaining the concentration.
Well, I think it's about controlling your adrenaline levels as well, Alison. They had a big celebration there.
Coming
after
back down
shot.
for that, yep.
Absolutely, they need to get themselves together and make some shots here in this 9th end. And the way this game has been going, anything could happen, to be perfectly honest. So we've had tactical errors in all of the ends, really, so why not start the 9th end with one? We're 5 shots up, and every stone in play is a stone that can be used by the Norwegians to their benefit, so why give them that opportunity?
Yep,
I have no idea.
Norway on the back foot now.
That being said, Tomobechi executed the shot reasonably well, keeps it high the tee line.
You'll give her that.
jeg ser det. Bra.
No, we just have to regroup, start building again, start building the end. Give themselves a chance. They have the hammer. They can get 2 or 3 here.
Well, this time they did throw the stone away. So I'm happy for that. And Norway going to throw the corner guard. Oh, this must get over the hog line. Looks okay. So I think Japan are going to start to peel the corner guards here. And actually, I mean, it just takes one miss on a corner guard, and it's really not outrageous to think that Norway could score 3 or 4. So we'll see how this works out. So taking.
Well, Japan have to be careful.
Well, they just need to take their time a little bit here. It looks like they're making very quick movements and rushing things a little bit. Well, makes the peel on one. Onodera having a super game. So accurate with the big weight.
Strong player.
So another corner guard going up from Holt. May just have to see this for a few stones here, just throwing up the corner guard and running the peels down, and then going into the house later on in the end, making your move.
Bra, Camilla. Ja, ja. Der får dere begge.
Well, Alison, I must confess I wasn't watching there, but what just happened?
Red disappeared. Their own red. What's the tactic there?
I don't think that was tactics there. I think they were trying to peel the guard and they just missed it by a country kilometre. So Camilla Holt now with a chance for Norway. They can start piling stones behind these 2 corner guards that they have.
Så la den gå. Trenger å køle masse. Kommer masse nå, skjønner du. Kommer masse nå. Ja, 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 ja. Kom igjen.
It's a really surprising miss from Onodera. She's been one of the best seconds all week long, only second to Ching Shuang Yue of the Chinese team.
That's about the only thing she's missed all week.
And she's looked really solid during this game. Good draw there by Camilla Holt.
You don't see many 6s on scoreboards at this level, do you?
No, but it was some good stone placement by the Japanese that forced the mistakes. Here's Funayama. Well, goes after the one in the house. Slightly risky play by the Japanese. Just takes a slight misjudgment. You rub the guard, you leave a guard, and you don't take out the one in the house. And those are the sort of things you don't really want to risk happening. They are unlikely, but at the same time, you don't want to risk it happening and for you to lose a silly 3 or a 4.
Ok. Den ser igjennom ut. Heng. Nei, sitta. Ai.
And away goes that one.
Sånn.
80.
Well, Annalena Skarsmoen is having a game to forget.
Big size, you can hear.
あるね。
こっちでいいと思う。
Yeah, maybe an element of having given up here.
こっち来たらこっち強くなるかもしれないから。こっち何回もやらせてみて。
I think this is absolutely the right corner guard to peel.
ちょっと曲がるかな。
いや、
With that red stone on the wing, that could be a stone that just makes any sort of takeout around the guard difficult to play. So take the guard away when you've got the opportunity.
や
Makes the peel. And now Norway can only really score 3. Well, nominating to play the draw around the corner guard here once again.
Annalena Skarsmoen's second stone, hoping for better than her previous one.
Veldig god plass, gjerne vekk.
Well, it doesn't look that much lighter than the last one to me, Alison.
Jeg fikk samme splitter, men det var litt sånn annet.
Men den henger.
Nei, den gjør ikke det.
Well,
Jo
if
da.
it hangs around, it'll be okay.
Ja, det liker.
Well, that's just disastrous. 2 stones through the back.
Almost exactly a carbon copy of the previous one.
Jeg hadde 86.
Just not on the ball at all now.
Det er 4 etter 10, altså. Ja, vi kan jo gå for å ta 2.
Ja, men den er
Og begynne
akkurat sånn
å fryse da. Håper at splittene det til siste gang blir hengende. Jeg vet ikke.
Well, Mariana Rurvik being very supportive to her third player. But
Magnanimous, but inside she must be feeling crushed.
yeah, I don't think anything Mariana can say to Annalena will make her feel any better about those 2 shots. So now Ogasawara can peel the lone corner guard. Makes the peel. Doesn't really matter where the shooter goes, just get those guards out of there.
Det vet jeg ikke. Men
Det finner vi ut av.
jeg ville tippe den selv.
Is it more or less a procession now, Logan?
I think it is, Alison. I think this game's very much over. Mariana Rurvik just going to throw one into the rings here, really try and freeze on that red stone. And the Supers immediately head down on this one. I think they think they're going to have to go coast to coast on this one.
Nei da, ikke. Fin retning. Kjemperetning.
Needs to get a bite of the rings here. Needs to get a bite of the rings.
Sorry.
And they're not going to manage it.
95.
So we'll just see Japan split the rings here, but this could well be the final end of this game.
Faen da, pyntelig på tavla.
Marianne actually the only one that's looking positive as she can.
So just anywhere in the house, really. Anywhere, really. Throw it away if you want. It doesn't make any difference here, really. There isn't a way for Norway to score 2 at the moment. So just drawing the button here.
Ogasawara's last stone.
Well, this one needs to just rear up a little bit if it's going to stay in play. So, I think Mariana will just be drawing for one here. And then with a 4-shot deficit without the last stone, I think that's, I think it would be crazy to play on.
Yeah, what must these girls be feeling inside now? So close.
Well, it's almost a little bit of a shame for the Japanese girls that they're not playing a shot to win as such. They're just kind of waiting now, but much like Felix Schulze last night, we saw great scenes there when he made his terrific shot to win in the next round. Japan, it's just been that 8th end that's really made the difference.
Yeah, you can see the 6 just on the side there. That was the killer blow if you're a Norway fan.
Well, probably going to need the back in here, just waiting for it to curl down. It's not going to curl enough to hit the backing. Is it going to slide past it? It is, and it's going to be a steal here in the 9th end.
And nothing working out for Norway.
Okay. Sex? Vi tar ikke sex, ærlig talt.
And it is indeed, yep, handshakes all round. What a victory for Japan. They are through to the Olympics. They had the disappointment this morning, but they've managed to beat Norway here in the final event of the Olympic qualification 2013, and they will be going to Sochi. The final score, Japan 10, Norway 4, and they are absolutely delighted.
Well, it wasn't the spectacle that we hoped for, Alison, but I think Japan fully deserving of that 2nd spot in the women's competition. China were head and shoulders above all the women's teams this week, but definitely in 2nd, I would say the Japanese best 2 teams have qualified. The men's event was much more exciting with 8 really strong teams playing and very little between them. The women's, China and Japan qualifying, and Japan, the only team that they actually lost to was China, so a super week from the Japanese. But Japan are going to the Winter Olympic Games in Sochi in February. Terrific result for Pacific curling as well. Clearly thrilled. Ogasawara getting the opportunity to go to her 3rd Olympics. While Funayama is going to her 3rd Olympics as well. It will be the first time for the front end players, Onodera and Tomabecci, and that will be a terrific experience. Congratulations as well to JD Lind, their Canadian national coach. Just taking on the job this year, so a great achievement for him and team coach Fujimiki. Sure, he's thrilled with the girls' performance. JD Lind tidying up the brushes. I'm sure he can employ someone to do that. But you really see how much it means to these teams. And I think this competition has been a very welcome addition to the curling calendar once every 4 years. Just brings extra bit of drama to the sport. It includes more nations in the Olympic process. And we've seen a huge amount of drama this week here in the BLZ arena. Of course, the Olympics, like any other Olympic sport, that's what curling is all about. And the BLZ arena has been a fantastic setting for this week's action. Tremendous ice conditions provided by Jamie Barassa and his team of ice makers. And there's confirmation of the final scoreline. Japan 10, Norway 4, and that score of 6 in the 8th end. Just huge. But even in the 7th end, that score 1 for Norway, that shouldn't have really happened. Some strategic errors there in the 7th end in my eyes. And then Japan being absolutely ruthless with the hammer in the 8th. Really putting the game without beyond doubt. So we're just waiting to have a word with the winning skip, Ogasawara. Any idea how long that'll be? Well, 7th end, it was a bit of a rocky end. Norway turning down the chance to run the end through, and Marianne Rorvik facing 4 red stones here. Needed to find the 4-foot, and how cool a draw was that. Olympic dreams on the line, and put it right onto the 1-foot. Super draw. Then the 8th end, this was the undoing of Norway. Look at all those red stones in the house. And Marianne Rorvik had to get another yellow stone in there somehow. No amount of souping could get this one down there. And that left a wide open takeout for Ogasawara. Just using the controlled weight. She missed this stone with her first attempt, but no mistake this time. Makes the correction and count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for Japan. Game over. And then in the 9th end, after some discussion, Marianne Rorvik and her Norwegian team offer the handshake. A brave performance by the Norwegians, but too much today. And the Japanese team qualify for the Olympic Games in Sochi, Russia.
Qualified for the Olympics. Tell us how you feel.
Yeah, I'm so happy, and everybody cheering for us. So I want to really, I really want to win. So I'm so happy, and my Canadian coaches, I appreciate for my Canadian coach, Fush, Miki, and JD Lin. So thank you so much.
And just one question about that 6th end, obviously. Can you translate for us? The 6th end, obviously that was the 6th that you scored. Major turning point.
Yes. Yeah, they played so well. So we were patient. So yes, we got chance, so we made it. So,
Congratulations, well done. Congratulations.
Well tried. Thank you. Okay.
So confirmation of the playoff format. China qualifying through the first final by defeating Japan. Japan got another shot at the big show, and they didn't make any mistakes this time, securing their place at the Olympic Games with a win over Norway.
And that's it for our coverage from Füssen. Thank you very much for watching. Congratulations to Japan and to China, to Germany and to the USA. Goodbye from Alison Walker and Logan Gray.